I seen the MD. We used to have a new MD like every 2 years. It was crazy. I've never heard anything like it. But one of the MDs was walking down. I was on shift, just cracking on, and the MD walked down past my cell, and it's crazy, isn't it, that they're called cells? Sounds like a prison. But he walked past, and I just looked at him, and he was like really old, hunched over, and then I looked around me, and everyone was the same. Like all the people that had been in that industry for like 20, 30 years, they just looked broken and miserable and unhappy, and I was like, I don't want to sacrifice the next 20, 30 years of my life to look and feel how they do. And that's when I was like, right, okay, I've got to just look at other options. And after that, it was just a quick Google search, how to make money online and stuff like that.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Visionation Success Stories podcast. So today my guest here with me is Mattison. Nice to meet you.
Andrew, pleasure.
How have you been today?
Yeah, been good. So Sunday is usually a day for winding down, I guess. So a little bit different, but I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So for the viewers that don't know who you are, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Jack Mattison. I am one of the co-owners of a marketing agency called Social Agendas. We're a performance-based marketing agency here in the Midlands.
Okay. So obviously I've known about you for quite a while now, and our company, Your Perfect Day, we've used you guys before for social media because we always had like our client base just based off like Airbnb, Booking.com, looking just word of mouth. And we had an Instagram account, but it was run by someone like in Asia, on a £5 a day or whatever it is on it. And he was just throwing out posts like random ones. And obviously we thought that's some way that we can explore into getting into and capitalise on that. And what I learned from working with you guys, I learned a lot because you had like an account manager, ads manager, content creators, and it was quite interesting for me to learn from that. So
that's like a live testimonial. I love that.
Yeah, it was amazing, man. To be honest, I learned a lot.
Thank you.
I mean, because it was COVID times as well, it didn't play out how I wanted to, but I learned a lot personally myself, and it was really good.
I love that.
Really good for me.
I'm glad.
But yeah, so I just want to throw it all the way back now.
Yeah.
So where you began your childhood and your upbringing and how like your first few jobs and like your entrepreneurial, where you kind of got that feel for it.
Oh God, where do I start? I guess a good place to start is probably with school, maybe. What happened in school, if I was, that's a good place for me to start.
Yeah, sure.
Right the way back.
Yeah, you can.
Cool. Well, school for me, to be honest, I wasn't very academic at all, so I didn't really pay attention in school. So, which, you hear about a lot of entrepreneurs these days that didn't really, I guess, have much success in school and they went on to do great things. So it's never been, it was just never a focus of mine really to sort of, which, might be a good thing or a bad thing, but I just didn't really pay too much attention to what was happening in school or at school. And then when I left school, I kind of had this period where all of my friends were going on to get jobs, and actually it was almost like they was progressing and I wasn't, and I kind of just fell into this pit really, where I didn't do anything for about 2 years, and I was just wasn't motivated at all to do anything, and then from it's at that point where I actually lost my dad's cancer. And that's really where everything changed for me. So when everything before losing my dad, nothing really happened. There was no significant progress in my life at all. It was just live for the weekends, do nothing all week. I was on the dole at one point as well, just living off that money, which wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
Probably still isn't a lot now. So nothing really happened up until that point, and then when I lost my dad, it was I was 19, so that was when it really, really hit me. Like, I was just like, wow, okay, life's really short. He was only 63. He'd been battling cancer for about 2 years. I was just like, yeah, like I've got to do something here. I'm 19 now. I'm getting older. Again, looking around my circle, all my friends are progressing, becoming sort of team leaders and all this stuff that's happening around me. I was just like, I've got to do something. So yeah, I mean, everything before losing my dad was just didn't do anything. I just didn't really there's nothing really exciting that actually happened. I was in and out of jobs here and there, but it was just very on and off. So it was kind of up until when I lost my dad was the turning point, I'd say. Yeah, the big turning point for me.
I mean, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, but that's just how life is.
Yeah.
And, I guess it was a catalyst for you to becoming who you are today. So, what was it after that you done, steps you took towards?
Well, after it was about 3 months really it took for me to kind of figure out what I wanted to do and to start to put some things in place. But my first step was just having consistency with jobs. I actually got myself a job. I was working in, firstly I actually got a job in McDonald's. So I was in McDonald's for about 3 months. It wasn't long, but I just knew I needed to get a job, and it was just an easy way for me to sort of, I guess, enter that, normal life. So I got a job at McDonald's, and then after that I started to apply for, because Birmingham, especially where I live, I'm from sort of Sutton Coldfield area, it's really, really big. There's loads on factories, there's a lot of like manufacturing that goes on there. So that's what I started to look for, fairly decent pay, and that's really where I started to focus a lot of my time, and where I actually got my first decent paid full-time job was with a company called Jura Automotive. Yeah, it was Jura. That was it. Jura Automotive. And they just supplied the car doors for Jaguar Land Rover. So that was just me getting my foot in the door, and then after that I just kept progressing, and it was weird because I kind of just jumped around different manufacturing companies. I was at Jura for about a year, and then after that I went to a company called Webasto, which make the sunroofs for the Land Rovers. And I was only there for about 3 months, then I got offered a really, really good job at a company called GKN Driveline, which supply all the prop shafts, which again goes to the Jaguar Land Rovers. So, but that was a big change for me, that job, because I went from probably earning about 18 grand a year at my other jobs to then earning, I think it was about 34 grand. So it was a really, really big jump, and that's where I think for me it was like, right, okay, I really want to do something big in life now, because I kind of seen, don't get me wrong, I wasn't earning I wasn't a millionaire by any means, but it just allowed me to see and feel the kind of lifestyle that I wanted. I could go on 1 or 2 holidays a year. I had a car, my first car and stuff. It's just allowed me to kind of figure out what I really, really wanted, and that's where my sort of motivation, ambition kicked in then. And I worked there for about 6 years, and I was just focusing on trying to progress in the actual business itself. But that comes with its own challenges. That industry is, I don't know if you know much about that industry, but it's...
not too much. I mean, I did mechanical engineering, so I was looking into those kind of jobs.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it just didn't really fascinate me that much. I mean, I don't know if it was your passion to go into that kind of thing, or it was just happened to be what you got into, and then you just progressed that way. But what kind of challenges would you say?
Well, the biggest challenge in that industry was, I mentioned progression, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to become a team leader and then sales leader, and I might get that backwards, sales leader then team leader, and then line manager, and just keep going and going. And of course, with that comes more money. But the problem in that industry was people didn't value you for your skill set and how good you are at something. They cared more about who was your best friend, who was their friends, and I'm talking about the management at the top level that make the decisions on who gets what job role, and I kind of knew that anyway. but this job opportunity came up. It was a brand new role, and it was I can't remember what it was called, but it was similar to like a team leader. You know, I'd probably be managing about 8 people, and that role came up. I think there's only like 60 people in that role available, or job roles available, should I say, if I got that right. So you can imagine there's like 1,500 people applying for the 60 positions, and I thought, I'm doing half of this anyway. Like I'm, well, more than half. Like when you look at the actual description of the job, I was like, I'm doing majority of this, and I've got a good relationship with the managers. I thought, okay, this would be good for me, and it was a good pay rise as well. Anyway, long story short, go through the interview, go through all the steps and the stages. I was getting great feedback the whole way through, and then they announced who gets the job, and I'm not one of them. And at first I thought, you know what? Okay, I just wasn't good enough. Like I'm not there yet. Like just work harder. But then when I started to see the people that actually got the jobs, I noticed that actually you're just best friends with the manager, and you're not qualified for the job role either. And then mistakes started to happen, and you could really, the people that wasn't ready for that kind of leadership role. I mean, don't get me wrong, I probably would have got a few things wrong, but you could see when someone's consistently making poor decisions and mistakes. And at that point, I was just like, you know what? Oh no! And it was just after that actually. I seen the MD. We used to have a new MD every 2 years. It was crazy. I've never heard anything like it. But one of the MDs was walking down. I was on shift, just cracking on, and the MD walked down past my cell, and it's crazy, isn't it, that they're called cells? Sounds like a prison. But he walked past, and I just looked at him, and he was like really old, hunched over, and then looked around me, and everyone was the same. Like all the people that had been in that industry for 20, 30 years, they just looked broken and miserable and unhappy. And I was like, I don't want to sacrifice the next 20, 30 years of my life to look and feel how they do. And that's when I was like, right, okay, I've got to just look at other options. And after that, it was just a quick Google search, how to make money online and stuff like that, is how the transition happened, in short, of course. But that was the biggest challenge really in that industry. Sorry, that was a bit long-winded.
No, that was quite interesting, to be honest, knowing about how it was within the company. Yeah. And I guess that culture starts from the top, and it goes down, and then that's just that's what causes the company losses and stuff. And then that's what you could probably learn from yourself, and then took it into your own business. And I'm not going to make those mistakes. Yeah. And then I'm going to hire the people correctly. In terms of the challenges you said, and then you saw these people around you and you wanted the freedom, and then I guess you always had that sense of purpose within you that you wanted to achieve more, and that was just a way of opening your eyes to it. And then then you went on to your next step, which was being Aaron and starting social agendas. So talk to me a bit about that. Yeah,
very. It's quite weird actually looking back to this, because it feels like a lifetime ago. Realistically, it was only 4.5 years ago, so it wasn't that long. But I mean, before I met Aaron, there's a lot that happened. So when I realised, and I kind of thought, right, I've got to get out of this, I've got to figure something else out. I didn't really know what that was. I just knew that a change had to happen. So I just Googled, what was it now? It's something about like how to make money online or something. And of course, I mean, even if you Google that now, you just get so many, drop shipping, Amazon FBA, and social media marketing, and all this stuff, e-commerce brands, etc. And that's what kind of came up for me. And the first thing that I seen was drop shipping. I thought, that's interesting. Started to look into it, but then I realised that a lot of people were talking about running ads on social media. And then I just started to get bombarded by advertisements about social media marketing agencies. And I was like, this is really interesting. You're telling me that I can essentially run these advertisements on behalf of businesses and get paid thousands to do it, whilst generating them tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of money. No brainer. I was like, wow, okay. This is exciting. I looked into it more, ended up buying a few courses, and those online courses really showed me, I guess, helped me understand how it actually works as an industry, the ins and outs to a certain degree, and that was kind of my entrance into the industry. At this point, I was still in my full-time job, so I was still working full-time, but just trying to educate myself on how social media marketing actually works and how an agency works. And whilst this was all going on, I was doing my shifts, which were anywhere between 8 to 9 hours, overtime on the weekends as well, because me and my now wife was at the time trying to save for our first house. So I've got all of this going on, excuse me, and I'm putting a lot of time into educating myself as well. But the frustration's just building up more and more with what's going on in my full-time job. And just when I was at like tipping point, when I was just like, I was having conversations with my wife, and I was like, I've got to get out of this. Like, I can't keep doing this. Like, I'm just suffering, and my mental health was just deteriorating like really quickly. And that's when I seen Aaron was doing this event in London. I've never just got hit with an ad again. Yeah. Hit with an ad. Aaron was putting this big event on in London, and I knew he was from Birmingham because he mentioned it and stuff. And I started to do a bit of research, and I was like, I really get on with this guy. There's something about this guy. Like I can relate to him a lot. Let's just go to this event in London. Like, what's the worst that can happen? We should go to this event and see what's going on there. And ended up going to this event. I actually took a day holiday, I think, or cancelled overtime or something along those lines to go to this event. And I met Aaron there, and the event was just wild. It was so good. Like, Aaron, that's where Aaron performs best, when he's in front of one to many. He's really, really good at entertaining people. And it was just a great day. But the thing is, I got to spend time with Aaron one-to-one. And that's just where we started to build the relationship. But I also invested in some of his training on that day as well. Yeah. So I invested in some coaching from Aaron and another guy called Jordan Platten. They was both doing it together, and I invested in the coaching. And just naturally, because Jordan was in, I think it's Norwich or something, so he was quite a while away, and Aaron was literally on my doorstep. So whilst I was trying to work full time, get out of the sort of that 9 to 5 there, learn everything I could about social media marketing, and get that business going, there was a lot happening in between, and I'd just go to Aaron because he was so local. So it worked. I was able to leave my job, and that was the best feeling ever. And this is how bad that industry is as well. Don't get me wrong, I've got good friends of mine that have got a really good career and are doing really well in that industry. They've managed to work themselves up. But I handed my letter of resignation in, and I wasn't, bear in mind I'd spent about 7 years with a lot of these people that I've been working with, some of the younger lads, and I couldn't even go and say bye to them. They just walked me straight off, handed my letter in, and that's it, out the door. Wow. Don't come back in, you're not allowed in, cancel everything. It's like crazy, just crazy. But all of these learnings, you said it a moment ago, it definitely showed me what not to do. Like they're little, I didn't know it at the time, but that showed me, like when we hire team members, when we have staff members, okay, you can't treat people like that. Yeah. Don't treat them like that, because you will never get the best out of them, and they'll never stay, and they'll never want to actually work for you. And that's the challenge I think with business it's especially when it comes to staff. It's you don't want people that I guess have to work for you. You want them to want to work for you in some ways and actually enjoy what they're doing.
So you left your full-time job and then you started the social journeys, or how did it go?
So that this is where it gets a bit there's a lot that happened here. So my agency I had about 6 or 7 clients at the time, because I had my own agency at the time. Obviously, when I left my full-time job, it was to grow my own agency that I created. But I was working very closely with Aaron. So a lot of my clients that I had on board, Aaron's team was actually servicing them. So I was almost outsourcing the work whilst I was, I guess, building my clientele, my client base. And then I was also helping Aaron with some of the sales for some of the mentorship programs that he was doing at the time. So, I'd be at some of the events that he was putting on and just supporting him. And this whole time, we're just building a stronger and stronger and stronger relationship. The trust is there's a lot more trust now. And I think it was just as we went into lockdown, he planted the seed before about, merging and joining forces, but I didn't think he'd ever actually say it, because, social agendas was flying at that time. I didn't feel like he needed me. I didn't see where I'd be able to add any value with everything that was going on. It was, it was flying. But yeah, Aaron he called this meeting with me and sat down, and it went on for about 3 hours. It was a really in-depth meeting, and he just laid everything out for me, not for me, but kind of showed me what he wanted to do with social agendas and what his goals were. And the craziest thing about it was, everything he said aligned with what I wanted to achieve. The growing social agendas, the kind of clients we want to work with, the figures we want to achieve, the team we want to build, everything just made sense. And he was like, look, why don't we just join forces? You become a director in social agendas, own a percentage and become a shareholder of the business as well. And, we both just focus on scaling this. It's already 2 years ahead of me at the time as a business. Yeah. So it wasn't as if I was coming into something that was just starting out. It was it was thriving. So for me, it was an absolute no-brainer. And I think Aaron knew that he needed someone to support him. It's tough. Aaron is just really tough. You don't perform, you're kicked out the door. It's as easy as that. If you're not getting results for clients, then they don't sign new contracts. They don't stay with you. So it's a tough industry. So it's just worked really, really well. And honestly, I know Aaron will probably feel the same, but it's really, really good knowing that, because I guess when you're running the business, you've got no one to really turn to. But it's good having Aaron, and I'm sure I'd like to think he'd say the same about me. It's good having me around. We have got someone to turn to when things aren't going our way. We can turn to someone and speak to them. But that's how the transition happened. So it was almost like he had a successful agency, mine was building, and he just had these big visions which aligned with what mine were, and we just merged and joined forces. All my clients came through social agendas, and that's it there, really. It's where it really began,
Yeah, it's quite amazing how you mentioned that, he had like a 3-hour meeting with you, and then you kind of aligned in what you wanted, both of you. Yeah. But I know as well that going into like a joint venture kind of thing with someone, it can be difficult, because when the problems arise, that's when the true test shows for it. Absolutely. And obviously I can see you guys have been flying, and it's been going well, still is. And ever since we was with you guys, it's come a long way since then as well. I remember you had like a different set of team now. You've got different members now.
Yeah, a lot of changes.
Yeah, a lot of different changes. So just touching on that, how do you feel yourself about creating opportunities for people like creatives, content creators, or even just like managers, salespeople, etc. And how you feel, what you've basically learned from your previous job, how people were treated and how you're treating them now?
Yeah, it's a great questions. It's for me, I know again Aaron feels the same way, because we spoke about it, but I remember we've hired our first full-time staff member. It's like this huge achievement, because it's bigger than just they're helping you and you're getting a bit of time back, and you're creating a job opportunity, you're potentially changing someone else's life. Like when I got that job at GKN, my lifestyle completely changed. Again, I mean, it was only, I could go on 2 holidays a year rather than 1.
Yeah.
You know, it's just those little changes which are actually big changes for people. So it's that, you know, for us it's a great feeling, and we love being able to do that. For any different role, I mean, media buying, which is essentially the job title for someone that runs the advertisements on behalf of our clients. That's a really, really hard job to hire for, and a lot of the time it's a skill set that we have to train people on.
Okay.
So, you know, there's a lot of moving parts behind different roles, but you know, being creative and allowing people to express that is a very big part of what our business does as well, because we have to constantly be able to grab attention of, you know, on social media. I mean, it's so easy, right, to just scroll past.
Yeah.
You just almost in a brain dead state, aren't you? I guess in some ways, when you're just there, like just scrolling through, just checking what your friends are doing. We have to be creative and be able to grab the attention of people, and then off the back end of that, get them to take action, which is a challenge. So yeah, being creative and bringing people into the team, and you know, helping them with their skill sets and learn new things is really, you know, still as exciting now as it was when it first happened. Like we love it, and yeah, there's been a lot of changes in the team as well. We learned a lot from, I mean, we scaled up to, I think we had 24 staff members at one stage, and I think that was around about the time when you got involved with us, or was close to being at the peak.
That might have been after. Well, I remember you guys had probably like 10 at that point.
Oh, okay, yeah, so
Might
probably
have
just
been
before.
after.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know which one it was.
Just before we scaled it up, because, you know, 24 staff members, all of these departments, managers, all these moving parts. And the biggest lesson for us was, well, there was 2 things. Number one, we scaled too quickly. We wasn't ready for the scale, and then the second thing was we hired the wrong people for, you know, role. The role wasn't right for them, and we just didn't see that at the time. So, because what we was doing as well was we was promoting people within the team as well into different roles, you know, because we'd seen those doing great work, and yeah, it just wasn't the right time. It was almost like it was too soon. So there's just so many things that we learned in that period, and then we just scaled the team back, steadied the ship. We've got about 14 staff now, and just slow and steady growth now. We've just grown. We went way too quick.
Yeah.
So learned a lot about, I guess, managing people and the HR side of the business, and you know, everything you have to have in place. There's a lot.
Yeah, that's like a common theme in a lot of businesses, where people hire the wrong people, or they're just not right for the role. And I guess it's just learning. Everything that comes out, you're just going to make like a lesson out of it. So
Yeah.
you know, you might have lost some money here and there, whatever it is, but you've learned a lesson, and it enabled you to grow long term. And obviously, you said you scaled too quick. Now you like come back, you scale down, and then you go again, and you know, you've learned from your mistakes. So yeah, obviously I come across you guys, I think before we actually got into business with you. I think my brother knew of Aaron, but
Yeah.
I saw a lot of the social media. I was just coming onto my Instagram, but I don't think I was searching for anything similar. I never had a business or anything. I was like, why is this coming on? But it was.
Yeah.
And I always saw it, and there's a video of you guys, and you had the team, and there's a different team member, and that was quite cool as well. I quite liked that. And yeah, just touching on that, it made me think, like, obviously you guys run a social media marketing agency, and it's just like social media, but then, as you were saying, when you were scrolling through your phone, and it's just like, you're like a zombie just scrolling through your phone. How do you yourself, being in that business, with social media, and it's just like digital, literally pixels on a screen, how do you manage to like take yourself away from that and just not get like too invested into it?
I mean, to be honest, I don't. It's very hard to remove myself from it, really. It's because for us, and we say this to a lot of the agencies that we train as well, like, you have to practice what you preach. You can't really, in our industry, go and scream about how great social media is and then not have a presence on social media. So whilst we're actively doing all of the work for our clients, we're also having to do the same work for our own business. That's why you see our own ads. We run our own ads. We spend anywhere between 4 to 10k a month on ads, depending on what's happening. We spend a lot of money as well on the ads. We're constantly on our stories on social media talking about topics and just talking about what we're doing, and it just never ends. So it's very hard to switch off. The first time I've actually ever switched off properly since I got started in this industry was most recently, and that was my honeymoon. And that was really just because it was the honeymoon. More than anything, I think even if I'm planning on a few holidays next year, we can't switch off. Me and I went to Portugal in June for a golf trip, and we were still having to deal with a few things. It doesn't happen unfortunately, but I say unfortunately, we love this. We absolutely love what we do. It is truly a passion of ours, and that is feedback we get a lot of the time. People say, you really, really enjoy this, and we do. We really enjoy it. So the answer is, we just don't get to switch off. There's no kind of end really. If that answers the question.
I know what you're trying to say, but I was more talking about like the social media itself, because there's a lot of stuff on social media that's just not real. That's in that sense. How do you being in that kind of environment? How do you for example, seeing other companies and this and that, because you're in that field already, and it's I don't know how to explain it, but it's you're already in there. How do you know different? I'm not saying differentiate what's real and fake, but
what in our industry specifically from agencies that might not be.
That kind of thing. But because you're just in the social media can, as I said, can be quite fake. It's just how do you keep your mind sane, going too much into it. You have to scale now. You have to scale, and you have to do this. You have to do that. And because you can get carried away with social media, but being in that field, that's why I would know how you deal with it.
Okay, got you. Well, you're right. There's a lot of real and fake stuff out there on social media. We've always got people making fake accounts of us as well and stuff. I'm sure you guys have had that at some stage. It's just so frustrating. But it's when we're focusing on something, like you say, if we're trying to grow the business, then we try not to, there's a lot of things you can do to automate social media to, I guess, stay away from it directly throughout the day and stuff, so you can focus energy. But, one thing we've learned is definitely just taking things with a pinch of salt. Everyone's got an opinion on social media. That's kind of when you're out there and the way we are, and same with you guys as well, you are out there, people are watching what you're doing, supporters and haters, everyone's got their own opinion, and they're going to voice that whether you like it or not. And for me, it's something that recently I've had to come to terms with, that I have no control over what people think of me. I just have to be who I am and say what I believe in. And that will naturally attract the people that I want to be around anyway, and the people that I don't want to be around and that don't believe in what I'm saying and agree with me. I don't want them around me anyway. No love lost. You carry on and have your opinions and say what you want, but I'm not going to entertain that. It's I guess relevant to what you've asked there, but it's unfortunately you can't avoid all that stuff really. There's so much.
Considering you're in that kind of field, then obviously it's going to be very difficult to avoid it. You just gotta, as you said, you've come to terms with it. It gets probably, I don't know how it was for you to come to terms. Maybe someone, maybe a fake account will give you hey, and then just realise what, this is what happens, and I just gotta deal with it. But we've had part and parcel of it. So
the worst one was racism. We've had people be directly racist just to Aaron, ridiculously. This one, I remember once, all Aaron was doing was just putting something on his stories, just doing what we usually do, just out there posting stuff, and someone from this clearly just this dummy account, no
Yeah.
followers, nothing,
Yeah.
just this weird name. Messaged him and said something like, "Oh, stick to delivering curries," and it's like, wow, like,
Yeah.
you know, you're saying that behind this
Fake.
fake account,
Yeah.
like, it's just crazy. But yeah, you just have to deal with it and just move on and not let it distract you, I guess.
Yeah, that's as I said, it's just part and parcel of it. You just it's not obviously it's not right, but
Nah.
it just comes with it, and you can't do anything about someone's opinion.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna happen to them, and the bigger you get, the more it's gonna be
Yeah.
occurring.
And then you get cancelled like tape.
Yeah, you get that's what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so going back to the other point that you mentioned about switching off
Yeah.
and you went on your honeymoon, and like, how was that for you? Like actually working and then going on that and then coming back, because I personally feel it's very important.
Yeah.
Once in a while, and you said you haven't had a break from the start, so once in a while is very important. But I also understand that you can go away, but you still have to like be on your phone, like messages, work messages coming through, and I've been like that as well. Like, you know, you just got to deal with it, just how it is.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy it, it doesn't really seem like work.
Yeah.
And you're on holiday anyway, the vibe is like just
It's
holiday.
kind of
you
just
know?
like, wow, I'm able to do this from here.
Exactly,
in
you
some
just still
ways.
making the money, but the importance of actually going away and having that reset and coming back to the business. How was that for you recently?
It's actually quite tough, to be fair, because, I mean, to be fair, I have had time off over the years, but like what you say, you're not really switching off. It's like you're just in a different location, still dealing with the same kind of things, and then enjoying like a little bit of downtime. But the honeymoon itself was such a great feeling, and I think it just goes to show as well how much trust me and Aaron have, because I was at peace, just knowing that there's not going to be anything wrong with the business, and also the team. The team are great. Like when me and Aaron went to Portugal, we've got a great team in place that we can trust that allow us to do that. So if we did want to like fully switch off, and me and Aaron wanted to just go away for a couple of months, I'm confident we could, and not really have any issues. But it was great. It was great to have that time off, and of course, just got married, so I was on cloud nine. Like me and my wife were on cloud nine, just enjoying ourselves, and it was really, really good. Like I really needed it. I really, really needed it to just be away from everything.
Yeah.
And then coming back was actually a lot sort of harder than I thought it would be. To be fair, just to get back into the swing of things, and in some ways, I felt like I was learning things again. It was weird. The weird feeling for me. I don't know if anyone else actually goes through that or has felt like that from having time off, but I was out of the business for about 5 weeks in total, like just completely.
Yeah, that's quite a long time to be fair.
Yeah, away from it. So, projects had changed and these updates, and I'm like, when I left, like that was over here. Now it's here. So I'm like trying to catch up with everything. So yeah, it was intense. It was hard work actually coming back.
But yeah, just getting yourself back up to speed. But in terms of your actual productiveness and growth kind of thing, like coming back, was that better for you than it was previously just before you went, or was it just the same?
Yeah, I was probably doing 90% before I left. That's why I was probably running out now. I'm just like 120%.
Yeah.
Just full power, just feeling good, feeling fresh. And I think you mentioned just a moment ago, it's like you feel like it's important, and now I feel like, I've always kind of knew that it's important anyway to have some time off, but you're much sharper when you've had downtime, and when you're having downtime, you're kind of alone with your thoughts, and you can start to think of like, I don't know if you've ever had it, but I've definitely, even just like we went to Portugal, I keep referring back to this, but it's just time where you just get to like just think.
Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree with that. Like, to me, it's really important personally, because as you said, when you go, you're still on your phone, you don't really switch off. But it's good to have a time where you go, and obviously, it's not going to be as it is when you're here. It's going to be obviously a lot easier. You're still going to have to deal with stuff, but maybe not as much. And obviously, when you got people in your team, like you said, you've got Aaron with you, and then you've got your actual team members. Same with us, we've got our team, members. So they're there, and I can trust them to do it. So for example, when I was on holiday, before the holiday, I've said this to you before, I was really cranky and I was performing like good, like maybe like 78%, but I was just really cranky. Every little thing was like irritating me, and I was just like, oh, I just needed holiday because it had been like since I started working, it hadn't been. It was like pre-COVID, and I've been going through all of COVID and everything. I'm just like, I just need this now, and it was only like 4 or 5 days, but it was like the best thing ever. Because I went there, and and in terms of downtime, like I would literally just go and see, like I would, like the first day I went there, we were staying in a villa, and we got there at like midnight. And I was just there sitting like on the deck chair, just looking at like you could see the sea and the pool, like and then we were just chilling there, and then some of my friends, they went to sleep, and I just like stayed awake till sunrise. I just sat there looking at sunrise, and that was like so good for me, just like clear my head. And I always tend to do that when I go on holiday and just get time away. It's just like I'm not thinking much, but I'm just taking everything in.
That's it.
And I'm just re-saying, and then when I came back, I was literally like laser focused to come back.
That's it.
And obviously I wasn't off as long as you were, like you were 5 weeks. I was only like 4 or 5 days, so not much changed. So I came back and I knew exactly what I needed to do, what was needed to be done, and my productivity was through the roof on.
Reset.
So but I already knew that before I knew that I was going to be like that. It just is just good to like get away. But at the same time, if you love what you do, you know, you're not always gonna, you can't really switch off. But it's always going to be there. But it's good to have that. And most like entrepreneurs and, you know, big people, speakers out there, they always say, you know, taking time off for yourself is essential.
It's important, definitely. I'm definitely doing more of it, that's for sure. Because, like I say, now I feel so much more efficient right now. My work rate's much higher. I'm making smarter decisions. Like it's just, I'm better for it. Like I've had that time off, but it's going to help me progress faster. So I'm definitely in agreement.
It's just the health that's up there, and then obviously you have your physical health as well, which makes you sharper. Like eating well and like going to the gym and stuff like that, and that's.
I won't go that far. I still got the dad pod.
But it's interesting.
But you are, I know you mean.
It's just interesting. I mean, I haven't been doing anything myself. But it's interesting because when you do those things, it makes your decision making better as well. It definitely does. But it's hard because if you have a million things to do and there's priorities, like obviously you're married now, so you know you're gonna be with your family and everything. And it's just the priorities. That's the most important thing to you. Then you know that's what it is.
Definitely.
So as I mentioned, you have your priorities and stuff like family and this and that. So personally for you, obviously I know you're really busy and now you're married. So how's it for you, like going into the future? Like what's like your main priorities and how do you find this work-life balance that everyone talks about? If it even exists.
Well, it's a tricky one at the moment because I mean, of course, me and Aaron, you might have seen, we're actually raising investment at the moment for social agendas, so we're selling a percentage of the business to raise funds so we can grow and scale it even further in a short amount of time. So there's an exit plan in place, so that's definitely something that we're both working towards now. Aaron's, of course, had his firstborn, Neo. He's got his daughter on the way now, which is she's literally just about to arrive into the world. So he's got that, as a priority of his now. He's thinking of his kids and the time, and Aaron's away from his family a lot, and it's a big sacrifice. And I'm now starting to, before me and Lauren, my wife, got married, I know it doesn't change massively the dynamic, but what it does change is what me and Lauren are working towards now. Like now we want kids. Like that's the next thing. We're just moving house now as well, getting a bigger house. So, they're like Aaron's priorities, of course, he's thinking of his children. I'm now slowly moving towards having children. So for us, the priority is to become as time rich as we can. Really. Obviously that's going to take a bit of time, but at the moment, I mean, it's we get a bit of downtime on the weekends, but in the week, for me and Aaron, both of us, we're just, I'm in the office every day about 8:15, don't leave really till about 6ish on a normal day. so we're a lot of the times in the office. So there is like, it's more work right now, I guess, but it's just because we're focused on if we can just go as hard as we can over the next 3 or 4 years, and then hopefully have some sort of exit from social agendas. How that works out, not too sure, but you know, then we can really focus on our families, and at that stage, I mean, you know, I don't know how long it's going to take me and my wife to have kids, but you know, I'm assuming that, or hoping that we, you know, at least have our firstborn then and stuff, and that's what we're working towards now. But I mean, at the same time, before, you know, I think it's really important to have downtime, especially like, you know, we just spoke about downtime with like holidays, but it's when you're, you know, let's say I haven't got any holidays coming up, I still think it's important, like Sundays for me. Yeah. You know, I said at the start of the podcast that usually for me it's like a day of just release. I just complete downtime, don't really speak to anyone. Yeah. Might just do a bit of prep in the evening, just ahead of the week, but usually it's family time. So yeah, I mean, work-life balance, I think it's needed, but at the moment, for me, there isn't much, you know, of that at the moment, I guess.
As you said, like, you're trying to maybe look in the, like, you're thinking about like your future kids and stuff like that, and I guess most people probably have like that as a main priority. You know, some people just don't want kids, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
And then that way, I guess they can fully focus and just like business, like their whole life.
Yeah.
But I guess I feel the same way as you, where obviously I'm not at the age where I'm getting married or anything yet, but it's just that I feel like that's probably like the most families, like the most important thing. And at the end of the day, you're doing all this hard work, working, you know, running a business, but you're doing it for your kids, essentially, right? Yeah. And I mean, what's the point of doing it if you're not going to give them the time and give them all your effort, and then, you know, let them and their further generations like become successful, and you want to create that generational wealth or whatever it is you want to do. Yeah. So I guess that's quite important. Like, you've got to take a step back and think, you know, why am I doing all this? This is the point. I'm going to keep going, and then I'm not going to worry about my kids. Or for example, if you have kids and then you don't give them too much time, but you know in yourself that you need to give them time, because you know they matter to you the most. At the end of the day, your priorities, you're going to know what they are.
It's a big responsibility as well, isn't it? Like, you know, dad and stuff. Like, it's almost like a role, isn't it? It's like a job role. Yeah. From what Aaron's told me, anyway. I don't know yet. It's all from what Aaron's told me. So
yeah, probably sounds like that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
he's exhausted with that one.
Yeah, you gotta. I guess you gotta put your all in, and you know, that's the childhood and like growing up. You know, for myself personally, I don't really have a dad, so I don't even know what that's like. But it's just interesting. I would imagine like you would want your dad to be there more often than not, and you might not understand as a kid like what he's doing, but as a kid you wouldn't really care. Like, Dad, where are you? Like you might be multi-millionaire, but Dad, where are you? Like, I want to see you, kind of thing. So
you don't know, do you? Like you say. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's weird actually, 'cause, I mean, this is completely off topic, but sorry, bro. When I lost my dad, like that bond that I had with him, obviously when I was 19, like I knew at that stage what, you know, it was like to have a dad and stuff, and the you know, the bond that you have. And obviously when I lost him, I lost that bond. But then recently, well, not recently, over the last couple of years, of course, spending more time with Lauren's family and being around Lauren's dad. Like, I love golf. Anyone watching this that knows me knows that that's like my spare time is like it's golf or family. But he loves golf as well, so now I've built that bond with him, and it's like it's just showing me again that like family is like really, really important, and that I don't want to miss out on things anymore. Yeah, like I've missed too many family occasions and events and sacrificed too much of that over the last 4.5 years, and I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah. Like that's not what I want to do. So if I just work as hard as I can, in the week and in the time when I'm in the office. And then anything outside of that now is trying to just, enjoy time with family.
Yeah, eventually, I mean, it's probably been like your goal from the start. It's like getting to that point where you're going to have the freedom to be able to do those things, working hard, obsessively to get to that point. And that's what most people like strive towards, like entrepreneurs and everything. So, yeah, I guess it makes sense. And, everyone has the different priorities, but if your family's a priority, then that's a priority. And I feel the same way. But yeah, hopefully, man, you get everything sorted with social agendas. Hopefully it grows very successfully, and then you get to start to spend time with your future kids.
100%.
But yeah, it's been a great podcast. Great having you here. Great conversation, man. Thank you for coming down on your Sunday. It's a downtime day, but I appreciate it, man.
This is downtime. It's been great. It's definitely one of the best podcasts I've been on. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
No worries. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel.